Here she is. All right. She's in. All right.
I'd like to welcome everyone to the Emmaus Borough Council meeting. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
State for the record that everyone's present tonight, and Shannon, Councilwoman Baumgartner, is present virtually by Zoom, and also our junior council person is absent. Will be absent tonight. So, personal appeals part one. If you have a personal appeal, please approach the podium, or we'll do virtual after the people that are here. And just sign in and state your name, and you have 5 minutes for your appeal.
Hello, folks. My name is Scott Whitmer, and owner of the Service Master Building at 933 Chestnut Street, and the building, the commercial building next to it. I appreciate this opportunity to be able to address the council with an issue that I'm having. I've been a property and business owner on Chestnut Street for more than 44 years. During that time, I've made significant improvements and investments in the by renovating and adding to the existing business structure of my building, buying and remodeling building next door, and periodically improving the property. Most recently, we completely resurfaced and relined asphalt parking lot that serves those two buildings at a cost of over $55,000. For 40 of those 44 years in advance, my property had no significant problem or resulting damage from stormwater runoff. But 4 times in the past several years, we've been flooded out. The lower area of my building has sustained significant flooding during heavy storms. Most recently, the tropical storm that came through in early August, twice in 3 days, flooded out my building. I went down there with waders on, and it was up to my upper thigh. So it's like 3 or 4 feet of water in there. And that caused considerable losses to me. We had customer property in there, rugs, furniture, cases of paper goods, and consumable stock, much of which was ruined. On the time when the Emmaus High School got flooded out, we also got flooded. We had a customer's vehicle in there at that time, so you can imagine the losses there. The structure of the building has been damaged. We had to replace drywall. We had to have the furnace and water heater repaired. We had to replace the washers and dryers. Some of our commercial equipment, air movers. We have commercial dehumidifiers stored down there, and buffers and other cleaning materials and supplies, much of which was damaged. I would estimate our losses over the last 4 years to be $75,000. Much of it not covered by insurance because of exclusions in the policy for stormwater runoff. I guess what I'm asking of council are 2 things. One is an explanation for why this has happened. It hasn't always been this way. The stream that flows by our building, even in light rains, has a much heavier water flow than what it has had in the past. I don't know if it's from development upstream. I don't know if it speaks to the inadequacy of the storm sewer system in Emmaus, but something has changed. And the second thing I would ask is what could be done to mitigate this problem. I know it's affecting others as well. I'll at least one other area business person who has lost some heavy equipment to. But so it's an issue that I think is a general concern for UAS. Thank you for enabling me to talk to you about that.
You're welcome. Is that something you want to submit to us? What you were reading?
I can do that. That's my notes, but
And
You want me to?
Public Works?
Yeah, I mean, so I think we can explain a little bit here. Obviously some of it we can only theorize. So first of all, yeah, I'm sorry you've sustained damage. I am in a fight with my insurance company. I have $35,000 of damage at my house, and my basement's never been flooded before. And I live in an area where I can't blame it on the road. Like it came in the house. So some of the reason why I think you're seeing a little bit more water on the road itself is because we've had to separate the water from the sewer. So you're seeing more surface water because it's not infiltrating the sewer as much. So that's one of the reasons. Obviously, some of the other reasons are, the more buildings, the more concrete, the more macadam, the more roofs. As a town builds out, the less grass there is, the less it can absorb, rain into the ground. Part of our other issue in the last 2 years is our water table is so high the ground can't absorb it. We've seen that across the board. Our park has been flooded 3 times in the last 2 years, or twice in the last 3 years. In the last 9 years, it's been 3 times, but it had only ever happened a couple times prior to that for probably 10 or 15 years. One of the issues in the last 2 years is that the groundwater swelled. So that water is not going down nearly as fast. You can see that in a regular rainstorm right now. Now, again, that's not the reason, that you've gotten $75,000 of losses, at your property. I think there are a lot of things that we're looking at, a lot of things we're trying to address. The solution is not simple. PennDOT is looking to repave Chestnut Street in the next 3 or 4 years. Part of that should be some stormwater improvements by both us and them. I can't guarantee that, but those are conversations we're in preliminary talks about with them. So I think some of the things that we can do, guys, is again look at engineer work. Look at talking to PennDOT too, because some of that, Chestnut Street's a state road, so it's as much their responsibility on that road as it is ours, whether they want to admit that or not. When push comes to shove, it is their responsibility as well as ours. But this last storm, I can tell you, it doesn't matter where you lived in town, you probably got it. I have pictures of streets in this town that I've never seen water on like that. We burn out three fire pumps doing basements. We pumped out more basements than I think we have in the last 15 years. So, the last storm, we can't, we can only say there were 7 inches of rain in 6 hours. But there are other storms, though, that it wasn't like that you've got water in that basement, so, and that's the type of storm that we got to try to address, is those ones where, it was heavy rain for a couple hours, but it wasn't 7 inches of rain. So understood. We can keep.
Recognizing the problem. It sounds like it's worth investigating some solutions, some change of infrastructure, since it does seem effective.
Yeah, it's not just Chestnut Street by any means, but I have pictures of what it looked like on Chestnut Street, and you could go fishing during that rainstorm. That was pretty bad.
So I'm going to assign that to the Public Works Committee to keep that on the agenda. This is nowhere near a short-term solution. This is long-term, and could be years. Realistically.
I understand.
But
yeah,
it will be looked at, and hopefully we have a solution.
One of the challenges ends up being, you could add more drains. That's all well and good, but if the pipe underground is only that big, the water's only going to flow through that pipe at that much. So. If it's one of those things where the pipe has to be bigger, you're talking millions of dollars of work, because you have to dig that completely out and redo the whole line. So that's where an opportunity, if PennDOT's redoing the road, we can have those conversations of could we do something
altogether. We're on their paving list, but their paving list changes.
Yeah.
22's been on their paving list for a long time. And they've pushed that back. So I don't know where we're gonna fall, but they did include us in the next three to 4 years, I think.
Thanks for listening.
You're welcome. Anyone else with a public appeal out there? Hearing none, we're gonna go to the virtual residents, and Shane will unmute them, and if you have a public appeal, just please state your name, where you're from, and what your appeal is.
Hello, Mayor, Shane, Council President, and council members. This is Jessica O'Donnell with the Greater Lehigh Valley Chamber of Commerce, along with Ashley Laura, the Emmaus Main Street Manager. We would like to formally go on record to congratulate Mayor Gilbert on winning the Greater Lehigh Valley Chamber Mayor of the Year for 2020 from the Greater Lehigh Valley Chamber of Commerce. On behalf of the Chamber and Emmaus Main Street partners, we would like to thank you for your continued support as we try to support our local businesses and the community. And through your efforts and our relationship, and Mayor, this is well deserved, and you are representing the entire Emmaus community amongst the Greater Lehigh Valley Chamber of Commerce. And we just wanted to formally congratulate you and thank you for all your efforts and the entire council's efforts as we continue to support our Emmaus Borough. I would like to thank our Emmaus table sponsors, Whitetail Disposal and Dimmick and Dinkelacke, for supporting this event. And it was so great to see Shane and council members at these events, as we have kept this a long secret for many, many months for Mayor Gilbert. And Mayor, I have to say, you took home 2 awards, so I hope they are proudly displayed in your office as Most Entertaining Mayor of the Year, as well as Mayor of the Year. And again, we truly appreciate the support and everything that we do, and it's well deserved. So congratulations on, we're formally putting it out there on the borough meeting this evening, and wish we could be there to celebrate with you even more, but hang that award proudly, display it proudly for the entire year, because we are super proud that Emmaus took home the Mayor of the Year award. And I'm going to turn it over to Ashley.
Yes, sorry I couldn't be there, Mayor, but congratulations, well deserved. I just wanted to touch briefly on this past weekend's Farewell to Summer Festival. Things look a little different, as you can expect in the current situation. We ended up having to rope off a certain footprint so we could track how many people came into and out of the festival. Overall, I would say it was a really great day. Vendors were happy. We had live music, active learning center, and Lehigh Valley Martial Arts were there. It was a great partnership with Paul Miller and his crew. We did a scarecrow trail featuring local businesses. The weather was absolutely perfect. Truly could not have asked for a better day. While it was a little bit toned down from what previous years have been, we were excited to host something for families, and were pleasantly surprised by the social distancing and the masks that were worn. We were very thankful that people were responsible, and we were glad to host this for community members. We also want to say, of course, with every event, we are open to feedback, and we're looking for information from businesses about how things went, and we're always accepting ideas. So we're collecting information and always trying to make things bigger, better, and continue to serve our businesses. Shane, can you unmute Jess again, please?
Thank you, Shane. I'm sorry, I just want to follow up on what Ashley said. I was there on Saturday. It was a beautiful day in Emmaus, and I will tell you that I, as well as Ricky, we ate lunch at License to Grill, and the amount of people that came into License to Grill and said it was so great that the community was hosting an event and giving them something to look forward to. It was just refreshing. So we want to thank you, the entire council, Mayor, and Shane, for allowing us to safely and responsibly host an event to bring people to our downtown and see everything that we have to offer. So again, thank you so much to everybody around the room. We truly appreciate it.
Thank you for recognizing our mayor. She also had a very nice article on the front page of the East Penn Press. If you get a chance to read that, tells you a little bit about the banquet and the award. So congratulations. Anyone else with a public appeal through the Zoom?
They all muted themselves again. You want me to tell them on mute? No.
All right, moving on to community minute. Does anyone have anything to bring forward? Hearing none, there's no special presentations. Reading of the minutes. Would somebody like to make a motion to approve the council meeting minutes of September 8th? Councilman Hart, second by Councilman Dufresne. Any questions or corrections? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say no. There are 7 ayes. We have no decisions on bids. Communications, we have 2 letters. We have a request from Scott Corvez for street closure. I'll defer that to the mayor. And we have a thank you letter from our chief, thanking the Emmaus Rotary Club, Lexa Shallcross, the president, for the COVID-19 supplies donation that was greatly appreciated by our first responders. Apparently they gave quite a bit of the N95 mask, is that what you were? And a supply that's going to last quite a while. So greatly appreciate that. It's always nice when we get help from residents and organizations in the borough. Borough engineers report, we have none. Solicitors report.
I have no report tonight, Mr. President.
Thank you. Under unfinished business, new business, unfinished business part 2. I don't know if I've ever seen this before, but we have nothing. I don't know if that's ever happened before.
Oh, it has budget time.
Okay. And items not on the agenda. If anyone has anything to bring forward, you can do it now. Hearing none, mayor's report.
Thank you. On your iPads this evening, we have 2 proclamations. I'll do the first one. It's Proclamation 2020-494, Fire Prevention Week, which is October 4th to 10th, 2020. Whereas the Borough of UMass is committed to ensuring the safety and security of all those living in and visiting our borough, and whereas fire is a serious public safety concern both locally and nationally, and homes are the locations where people are the greatest risks. Home fires killed more than 2,030 people in the United States in 2017, according to the National Guard and Fire Department in the United States. And whereas cooking is the leading cause of home fires in the United States, our fire departments responded to 170,200 annually between 2013 and 2017. And whereas 2 of every 5 home fires started in kitchens, 31% of these fires resulting from unattended cooking. And whereas more than half reported non-fatal home fires occurred when the victims tried to fight the fire themselves. And whereas children under 5 face a higher risk of non-fire burns associated with cooking that's being burned in a cooking fire. And whereas UMass residents should stay in the kitchen when frying food on the stovetop, keep a 3-foot kid-free zone around cooking areas and keep anything that can catch fire away from stovetops. And whereas residents who have planned to participate or practice rather a home fire escape plan are more prepared and will therefore be more likely to survive fire. And whereas working smoke alarms have the risk of time for home fires to occur. And whereas Borough of UMass first responders are dedicated to reducing the occurrence of home fires and home fire injuries through prevention and protection education. And whereas UMass residents are responsive to public education measures and are able to take action to increase their safety from fire, especially in their homes. And whereas 2020 Fire Prevention Week theme, serve up fire safely in the kitchen, effectively serves to remind us to stay alert and use caution when cooking to reduce risk of fire. Now therefore I think that UMass Supervisor Plain, October 10th, 2020, Fire Prevention Week throughout the borough. And I urge all people of UMass to check their fire hydrants, to use safe cooking practices, and to support the many public safety activities and efforts to provide fire and emergency services during Fire Prevention Week 2020. On this 21st day of September 2020, Borough of UMass.
What was it?
Madam Mayor, I cooked my whole life. I cook for a living, and I never heard of the term unintended cooking. Is that just a nice way of saying they burnt the food? Started a fire from burning the food?
Watch what you're cooking at all times.
Yeah.
Alright. Also, you have on your iPads this evening a proclamation for trick or treat, along with some guidelines. I have decided that I will have trick or treat this year, Friday, October 30th, from 5:30 to 8. We added an extra half hour to allow for social distancing, so we don't run into any issues pertaining to social distancing. Individuals a half hour longer. So this is Proclamation 2020-493, trick or treat night. Whereas the Borough of UMass has deemed it appropriate to designate a special night in the borough as trick or treat night, and whereas the children of the Borough of UMass are entitled to the fun festivity associated with the observance of Halloween trick or treat custom. That is going from door to door in the neighborhoods, displaying their costumes and questions. And whereas the safety of the small creatures is assured by an accompanying adult, it is a source of amusement and good cheer for both the very young and older people who can visit and entertain. And therefore, I, Leah Gilbert, Mayor, Borough of UMass, Pennsylvania, hereby proclaim Friday, October 30th, 2020, as trick or treat night, Borough. With all trick or treat activities between the hours of 5:30 p.m. and 8 p.m. I request that households indicate their willingness to welcome children by keeping their porch or exterior lights on, and that youngsters only call on homes served by it. On this 21st day of September 2020, the Borough of UMass, Lynn County, Pennsylvania. Do you want to go through all the guidelines, or are we just gonna post those?
I think we'll post them. We'll post them.
If anybody has any additional guidelines that they'd like attached, just let me know. I think I hopefully covered most everything.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Even though this is your game to deal with, we discussed this at the General Administration Committee, and we felt that it was important that council take a vote of support backing you on this, so it's not just your decision, but that's support of council. So with that being said, would somebody like to make a motion? Councilman Hart, seconded by Councilman Andrews. Is there discussion on this? I'm thinking maybe just to let the public know, we could do a roll call because there are some changes as far as the time. Just a thought, whether we do it or not, I don't know.
We will.
Okay. All those in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say no. There are 7 ayes. And thank you for having that. I think it's important. I think you can do that safely. And people that have health issues can just not participate. So, all right. Committee reports. We have Public Works Committee Chairman Anderson.
We have nothing for official action. We need to report and our report progress.
Thank you. Health, Sanitation, and Codes Committee Chairman Valiant.
Thank you, Mr. President. Tonight, I would like to make the recommendation for an approval for a current project going on in town. The project is Cascade 2, and they need approval for a sewer application to be applied, the applicant applying to the PADEP. And this was something that typically when we approve projects, it's something that is normally all approved in a bundle, and this was not a bit more work, but they have met all requirements, and they need to have this approved. So I'd like to put that in the form of a motion.
Okay, yeah, there's no real resolution that you can read. So there's a motion by Councilman Valiant. Is there a second? Councilwoman McManaman, is there any questions or discussion on this? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say no. There's 7 ayes.
Thank you guys for that. Our next meeting is going to be September 30th at 4:30. That's our report progress.
Thank you. Parks and Recreation Committee Chairwoman Baumgartner.
Hello, can you hear me okay?
Yeah, you sound great.
Okay. We have nothing for official action, but I did want to remind everyone that the Emmaus Comprehensive Parks, Recreation, Open Space, Greenways, and Trails Plan study is currently experiencing some meetings. So there'll be some public meetings coming up about the general plan to get input from the public. There'll be meetings about specifically about Borough Line as well as Lions Field. And we do encourage the public to take part if possible. And that information will be on social media, but it'll also be on our website. Currently it's on our calendar. So the next one will be September 24th. That's this Thursday from 7 to 9. So if you're able to join and you want to give some input on the future of our parks, we would appreciate it. So that's all I wanted to mention. And our next meeting will be October 6th at 4:45 p.m. Progress.
Thank you. Public Safety Committee, Chairman Hart.
Thank you, Mr. President. We now have council student. I would note that the presence of either side or requested designated parking based on business and residents. Please recommend all consistent.
John, if you can move a little closer to the mic.
Our consistent recommendations of our approved section. So there's nothing before you or no action. So the second item was brought up was the school park request from a resident. So Harrison Street, which is the Baker's intersection. And the mayor has asked the police to work so they want to that area to determine speed. Lastly, we spent the residual of the meeting talking about a major budget request from three departments and its fire. All I know for progress. And
Thank you. General Administration Committee is myself. We have the Active Learning Center parking lease. We discussed this at the committee level, and there was a 3-0 vote supporting renting 10 spaces at $25 a month with, how do we phrase it as far as the lease? It's a yearly lease that can be
A renewable.
renewable.
Yeah, we'll have Attorney Dimick take a look at it. It's going to be similar to the one that we did with Switchback Pizza.
One of the reasons we're doing this is
He's actually here.
They have more people because of the COVID, and more people are doing the virtual learning, and with parents at work and whatnot, they need people to watch their kids. So I guess it's good for their business expanding, but they need parking. So it's going to be set aside, those 10 spaces, from 6 a.m. to 6:30 p.m.
Something like that. It's in there. 6:30 to 6.
Basically 12 hours a day.
So Mr. Miller's actually present.
Okay.
So just a couple quick points of clarification. It is a zoning issue for him. He has to expand his side yard, due to the amount of kids that they have, but they have a required number of parking spaces that they need to have. And we had talked to them. We've got a large parking area right across the road from them. That's off-street parking lot. We do rent out other spaces. It would be for a limited time, while the center's open, obviously 6:30 to 6. And I had encouraged Mr. Miller to come talk to you. I had obviously ran it up the poll at the committee level, and the committee voted in favor of it. But I had encouraged Mr. Miller to kind of, whatever facts I may have misconstrued or we may misunderstand, Mr. Miller can definitely straighten them out.
Good evening, Mr. Miller. Is there something you'd like to tell us about your business and what you need the parking spaces for?
Well, we've been here now for 17 years at this particular spot. And when we first moved in, we had
VFW, yes.
the VFW. And of course, when they, closed, or purchased that, and took away those spaces. Then, in the meantime, our business grew, and we now have 118 children that are in the center. We recognize that we need more outdoor space for them to not be inside the building all the time. We love to have that driveway that is a private driveway designated for play space. In addition to that, it clearly for us, it's important for us, and it's also will help parking for parents in a safe manner, opposed to trying to park or.
Does anybody have a question for Mr. Miller?
Just a suggestion, Mr. Miller, just for the Andrews. If you have some sort of tags that the people have in their windows that distinguish them, if you're with your center or something like that.
We certainly could do that.
I mean, I know that there's, I'm assuming signs they're showing that says parking, but how would they know whose cars are used? It's just a suggestion for you. But I wish you best.
We have, but one of the things that we do give out is that the magnetic, right off the line, I can't see that. But that we have magnetic, that we could have from cars.
Yeah, I think that would actually be helpful. Absolutely.
All right, would somebody like to make a motion? Councilman Donnelly, seconded by Councilman Hart. Any more discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say no. There are 7 ayes. I'm assuming that the solicitor will have to work out an agreement, and then there will be coming forward at some point.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Mr. Miller, I'll be in touch with you. It's Shane.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Mr. President, will we notify the residents that come from the parking there?
Somebody's feedback. There we go. Yeah, we'll put out a notification, but they're going to be more interested in something else that we're going to be working on very shortly at the committee level to deal with the large number of boats, trailers, and unhinged non-motor vehicles that are taking up our parking lot that they shouldn't be. That most normal people would pay a storage yard for, but we provide, that free outlet for them. So that's something that at the committee level, the committee is taking up. So there's going to be more notification than just, I think, those rented spaces that the residents are going to want to know about. Because I think you'll probably hear from several of them who, have been living there for years that have been parking their boat or their trailer hitch or other things in that location. And just so you know, that's going to be a borough-wide ordinance. That one was just the topic of discussion as we were looking at those parking spaces, but we will be discussing probably more than that, just that thing with them. That's the fire chief. He found a way to unmute himself.
All right, and also I just want to mention, I mentioned it during the committee meeting, about let's bring it up first. Certification that Shane earned, I just think he deserves recognition. It's Society for Human Resource Management International Certification. It's a 4-hour test that Shane took, and it's the equivalent of a CPA, you say, Shane, but not as prestigious.
Yeah, so
that's the
for an HR manager, that's what it would be. In real life, nowhere close. I mean, to get a CPA is like getting your doctorate. it's a whole nother level. But for an HR manager, that's as close as you can get.
So I bring it up because we're really blessed to have Shane as our borough manager. He has a bachelor's degree, a master's degree, and now he went out and got a certification. Shane, do they have any kind of percentages out there? How many in the field have that certification?
It's a 30% passing rate.
Not the passing rate. I mean,
Yeah, no, I
absolutely.
don't know.
I wouldn't imagine there's many because I've never heard of it before, and I'm just saying we're obviously lucky to have Shane. So that's my only point. And congratulations too.
Thank you.
With that, I report progress, and then we have Budget and Finance Committee Chairman DeFrank.
Thank you. We have the significant revenue and expense items in the packet that you can look at. We also have Resolution 2020-32, which is the bill list. Resolved by the Borough Council to authorize payment of the September 21st, 2020 bill list as follows. Bill list $428,547 and 40 cents. Payroll number 98, $150,256.27. Payroll taxes $48,396.85 for a total of $627,200.62 on this 21st day of September 2020. Put that in the form of a motion.
There's a motion by Councilman DeFrank. Is there a second? Councilman Valiant? Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say no. There's 7 ayes.
Okay, then you can see the meeting notes in there. And just a couple of things, the budget performance Shane talks about. They also sent us all an email to talk about the budget more. So make sure we get ourselves up to date on that. And thus far, from 30,000 foot, we're trending probably a little bit better than we had hoped for 6 months ago when this all started and stuff, but there's still some unknowns out there. So it's nice to see that some of the early things that we had to make some tough decisions on appear in hindsight to be the right decision, and we came back with brought some key members back in at some point here, so we can still get stuff done anyways. But so far, it's looking much better than we had anticipated 6 months ago. We're still not out of the woods yet. We also discussed tax collector pay in order to kind of over the years drifted a little bit higher than what it probably should be based on the way it's calculated. In order to make that change, we have to do it before an election year. So obviously, if running for that position would know what the pay would be. So it's something we'll see before the end of the year. You can see all the notes in there on what's been proposed. And then we just talked about the 2019 audit at that point. So with that, I will report progress. And our next meeting is October 8th, 2020 at 11 a.m. and it's Zoom meeting.
Thank you. And I failed to mention that the General Administration's next committee is the same day, October 8th at 9 a.m. And it will be a Zoom meeting also. Community Relations Planning and Development Committee, Chairwoman McMahon.
Thank you, Mr. President. Nothing for official action this evening, although I'd like to draw your attention to the attached meeting notes with regards to the special presentation we had from Altitude Marketing. Besides these in-depth notes, you'll be hearing more about CRD's proposed long-term marketing plan during budget workshops. Our next meeting will be via Zoom on October 12th, and unless there are any questions, I report progress.
Thank you. Jonas is not here to give a report tonight, so you have one set of board meeting minutes from the library. Personal appeals part 2. Does anybody have an appeal? Shane will unmute our virtual guest to see if anyone has an appeal. If you have an appeal, just speak up and state your name and what your appeal is. Hearing none. Give Shane a second to mute him again, and then it is Borough Manager's report.
So, I'm going to see if I can drag you out till 8 o'clock. Just kidding. There's football on tonight, right? Yeah, I'm sure you will. So there are two items, and these are probably the main items for discussion tonight. I'm going to ask you to vote on both of them. Resolution 2020-30. So just the other day, I received word that the Pennsylvania DCED Multimodal Transportation Fund program grant deadline got extended to the end of September. And in hearing that, I had wondered if maybe we could do a mad scramble to try to put an application in. And so I spoke with the engineer, I spoke with our public works director, and we all three felt that we could probably pull something together. And in addition to that, the PennDOT version of the multimodal grant is due in a much more reasonable time frame of November. But for those of you that aren't aware of it, this is the same exact grant that I was able to apply for the 10th Street culvert. We did not get the DCD one. We did get the PennDOT one. I would probably think that the PennDOT one is a better chance to get than the DCD one, but you'd want to go after both of them nonetheless. So in looking at multimodal and what it means, and where the low-hanging fruit would be, something that would be easy to apply for, but yet meaningful to the community, and looking at the conditions of our streets, but also not just applying driving, but walking. So multimodal is walkability, driving, and other forms of transportation, including trail connections. What we thought was 2nd Street was an easy, low-hanging fruit street that encompasses 2 railroads, a road, a school, a walking trail that's going to be built that connects from 2nd Street all the way over to 4th. Plus, at the very top of the community, at the border, we sold off that piece of property to the Wildlands Conservancy so that they could, in the future, build a trail connection up over the mountain. So it hits all of the low-hanging fruit and the targets that the multimodal grants are designed to do. It would include curbing, sidewalks, safe passage underneath the railroad bridge. It would include handicap accessible ramps. It would include extension of sidewalks all the way up to the borough line. The goal of the grant would be to actually go from Main Street up to the end of the borough. And if you hadn't updated your iPad this afternoon at around 4 o'clock, our engineer was able to give me the cost estimate. Now, this is without doing the utilities. The DCD version of the grant would not allow you to do any of the underground utilities. They would allow you to do stormwater, but not water sewer. The PennDOT version will allow you to do water sewer. Okay. The cost of the project would be $2 million. I put that in nice big, 8.5 by 17 paper for you, so that way you can really see it. But remember, we only would pay a portion of that, and it's over a 3-year period for the grant. So what I'm asking for is your approval to move forward in applying for this project in hopes of taking down one of our major major issues.
Does that include the water drainage?
Stormwater, yes.
Stormwater?
Yes.
Yep. That's a needed area. I mean, we've done it maybe a decade ago now, down by the railroad tracks, but yeah. Sure. So is there a motion to approve Resolution 2020-30? Councilman DeFrance, seconded by Councilman Hart. Any more discussion or questions? Councilman Andrews?
Hey, the other question I have is, could bike lane be also incorporated? The only reason is since it is multi-modal, would that help you? They do ride the bikes a lot up that hill and down that hill quite often.
Yeah, I mean, so putting a bike lane in, you could do the share the road stamp.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Just for clarification, Shane, so he said it doesn't include the utilities, so that's something if we forget if we would do that too, or no?
Yeah, so the DCD one, which is resolution 2020-30, would not include utilities. We would still do it. I feel very strongly, but we would have to fund.
So my question would be then, so we would need to over a 3-year time period, come up with 400,000 for 20% of this grant
Plus utility work, yes.
Does labor count towards
Some of it. Yeah, some of it.
it? Labor counts towards some.
Yeah, some of it. So you can use a certain percentage as administration fee.
Any other questions?
Does this become a stop sign on either side of the?
Nope.
I mean, I know that doesn't reflect a stop sign.
You're talking about because it's going to squeeze that train bridge down so pedestrians can walk through safely.
Yeah.
It may. Yeah, it may result in a stop sign, but that's something that as we go forward with it and we do the engineer work, that would be part of the process. So remember, this is all conceptual. It's the engineer work in itself. I actually think he puts it in there. It's a lot of money to engineer this project. I'm sure. Yeah, it's like 113,000 to engineer it. He'll figure that part out. Yeah.
Just one other comment. You said the probably won't hear back on this until early next year.
Correct.
Anyway.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. Yep.
Anyone else? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say no. There are 7 ayes. And then we have the PennDOT 1 resolution 2020-31. Is there a motion for that? Councilman Andrews, Councilman Valley at seconds.
So with this one, now I have a firm number to put into the resolution for the DCD one. Okay. I do not have a firm number yet for the PennDOT one, simply because we will incorporate the water sewer, which our Public Works Department is obtaining the cost estimates for that. So once we get those cost estimates together, then I'll let you know what that cost estimate is. That's the one that isn't due until November. I'd like to get it done as early as I can. But I'm imagining tacking on at least another $500,000 for water sewer. Okay.
What kind of work does that do?
So if we do the utilities, that's a complete rip up. So you're talking, and if you do utilities, the project itself will take that full 3 years, because you cannot repave a road completely for at least 6 months after you replace utilities, because you have to let the ground settle. That's where the gas companies, why your roads are collapsing when gas companies do their cuts, because they go in a month later and do the paving, and then the road settles and you have a sink. You need 4 to 6 months after doing a utility to let that road settle. So it would literally be probably the next year before you were able to do a finished pave. But it would be dig the road up all the way down. I mean, the sewer could be as far down as 8 to 12 feet, depending on which section it is.
Anything else? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say no. There are 7 ayes.
I think I'm gonna let it go at that. Tonight you've read my reports that I've sent to you. I'll report progress unless you have questions for me.
Councilman Frank?
Two quick things. Shane, thanks for the South Second. About 4 years ago, I think you passed public safety for bringing forward some parts of the Emmaus that weren't necessarily the safest and stuff. That one was identified, so thanks for bringing that forward here. And the second thing, I'm familiar with the SHRM designation. It is something to be proud of. So it's something that protects us liability-wise a lot. There's an area where a lot of people in business get themselves in trouble. It opens up a lot of resources to the community because you go through your SHRM organization to get answers. So that don't cost anything.
That's right.
And it's all the information. So thanks for getting.
Thank you.
I actually got one question.
Councilman?
Jay, do we know if the reverse parade is it absolutely no?
It is.
We'll have a meeting before then that we can.
It is, as far as those of us that are working on organizing it are concerned. I mean, there's a lot of logistics. There's a lot to pull off for it to be successful, but We met Ms. Baumgartner. We met when Thursday maybe.
Yeah, something like that.
Um,
It's all blurred. Yeah.
yeah, but we met I think Thursday, and everybody has a punch list of things we need to do. Ms. McManaman has stuff to do. I think Chad has things to do. I know.
They didn't trust me with that.
See, and I thought it would take a little longer for them to get to know you. I know Ashley Laura has a bunch that she's working on, and Alan Sylvester is working on a bunch of things. So I know it's full tilt. So yeah, I think they're going to be able to pull it off. We also want council to do something. We're thinking the Brady Bunch. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, if you're, if you want to participate and you want to put something together, I'm sure that would be awesome. Yeah, well, you can stand there and they can throw tomatoes at you if they know who you are.
Under president's business, I just want to mention something that Shane emailed us right about an hour before the meeting, that the Susquehanna Municipal Trust, as far as our safety score, in the last few years we've placed second or third. This is out of 80 groups, and last year we had a very bad year. But this year our score was 125 out of 125, which has to place us first.
It is
tied for first.
Yep, we're first. Yep.
So first out of 80, basically you can say municipalities, right?
They are, yes.
So that's very exciting. For us to go from a horrible year to #1 it's our safety committee. It's Shane who organizes that and runs those meetings, and just really, it's nice to see it had a payoff. That's, they do that work and you think, oh, it's just a formality, you get discounts here and there, but no, it really did pay off. And Shane, what is the benefit of being #1?
Yeah, well, so I mean, we have a representative from every department, and Teresa Pullman has been our chairperson for the last 2 years. But we have a representative from the secretaries, from fire, from public works, ambulance. We have one representative from every department. So what this means for us is, we scored 100% in our risk management score. So they do inspections of our facilities and our operations. They look at our injury rates. They look at our claims. They look at a lot of different things in risk management. And what it says to me is, I still remember my interview with Borough Council, and only 2 of you would remember that. But the very first thing that they said to me was, we pay $430,000 a year in workers' compensation insurance, and our injury rates are phenomenal, and we need to get that fixed. And that was the first thing that was on my desk that we tackled. And it was a change of culture. I mean, something as simple as our public works guys didn't wear, safety glasses when they were weed whacking. And while you think, well, that's simple to do, it's a culture issue. Our police department, we're having all sorts of different kinds of injuries that weren't attacks, that it was a culture thing, not thinking about, not thinking about the way that we lift patients in the ambulance department. We had all these back injuries. We had all these things that we just did, and people were getting hurt all the time. And it's been a battle for us in terms of getting to where we are. I mean, our workers' comp insurance, just so you know, it's about $148,000 a year now. And it's a result of not just me, but you, who, every year you guys give us a budget. Some of you donate your salaries to the borough, and we put that right in the safety committee budget. And we appreciate that, because it's telling our employees that we're interested in investing in their safety. The committee inspects all the buildings. We hold our department managers accountable for those inspections, as you guys and I expect, that our departments are addressing, the concerns that their coworkers and their employees are putting out there. we're looking at different kinds of injuries and trying to train and trying to improve the way that our employees are doing business. I am a seatbelt hawk. I am after every employee in the borough. If I don't see a seatbelt on, there's a discipline hearing. Because, they thought it was okay that we broke the law not wearing seatbelts. I mean, it was just a culture thing. And now the culture is they're coming to us. They're saying, hey, you know what? I don't think that process is a safe way to do it. I don't think that piece of equipment is the best way to do it. You're seeing in your budgets more and more every year, not things that they want, but safety things. Every year it's safety related items. If you look 10 years ago, that's not the type of things that they were looking for in their budgets. And that speaks to the entire process and the entire team of, thinking about each other, thinking about, how to go home safe and uninjured, and coming back to work tomorrow and doing it all over again. So, I think to me, this speaks to what we've been working on for the better part of a decade. And that is, creating a culture of safety for our employees. So, and I appreciate their efforts because, if you take a top-down approach to something like this, it doesn't work. You have to get the team to buy into it, and they really have. I almost took you 8 o'clock.
I was looking at that. I was thinking he's gonna take it all the way to 8. So today was the last full day of summer. I heard on the way in here that 9:31 fall starts. So enjoy your last 13.5 hours of summer with 38-degree weather tonight. So with that being said, is there a motion to adjourn? Motion by Councilman Dolly, seconded by Councilman March. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say no. Meeting adjourned at 7:57.
I'll look through your email tomorrow for a call.
Yeah, 1:30.
Yep,
The record's 36.
I will.
So I'm